Apple is scheduled to report quarterly financial results after the stock markets close on Thursday, October 30th, 2025, and investors are curious and asking if they should buy the stock before the company announces this huge investor update. I'll answer that question in this video. I'll also preview what investors should look for from Apple in the upcoming earnings release, what you should root for if you're an Apple shareholder, and what you should be excited about as an Apple shareholder. So let's get started right now.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So one of the more exciting things about Apple stock is the company's reinvigoration of revenue growth. For several consecutive quarters, Apple struggled to generate revenue growth, but those efforts have improved in recent quarters. In the most recently reported update, for the quarter that ended June 28, 2025, Apple's net sales jumped to $94 billion, up from $85.8 billion in the same quarter last year. What's more impressive is that the company's gross profit margin or gross margins overall did not decline all that significantly, even amid these rising geopolitical tensions, increasing trade barriers, and increase in tariffs. Apple famously manufactures nearly all of its products outside of the United States, a large percentage of which is manufactured in China, which is facing the largest percentage tariff increase out of any country around the world. The second place Apple manufactures significantly is in India, which is also facing a huge tariff increase of 50%. So both of its huge manufacturing hubs are facing increased cost of goods, but Apple CEO Tim Cook has expertly managed the situation, massaging the relationship with President Donald Trump, earning Apple exemptions, etc., for being a large U.S. business, and the implications of what it could mean if Apple's business struggles and Apple's share price struggles, because it's such a large part of investor portfolios in the United States, being one of the largest market capitalizations in the United States. A couple of more factors that investors of Apple stock can be excited about is an increase in sales in China. For several consecutive quarters, that region was the worst performing region for Apple. But in the most recent quarter, sales actually increased in the region, up to $15.4 billion from $14.7 billion. And as I mentioned about a week ago when I did a video about the early results of the latest iPhone 17 lineup and how sales are evolving, sales in China have reportedly increased by more than double digits. That's great news for Apple stock investors on two fronts. For one, China had been a difficult region for Apple amid these rising geopolitical tensions and the Chinese government shying away from U.S. businesses trying to encourage their consumers and their enterprises to purchase from other companies, locally sourced companies. So an increase in sales in China of its most critically important product is great news for Apple stock investors. That brings me to the last point. iPhone sales up to 44.6 billion, up from 39.3 billion in the most recently completed quarter. Sales increased by more than 10%, and this doesn't even include the results from the latest generation of iPhones, which, as I highlighted earlier, early reports indicate that sales are up double digits, much better than last year's lineup was performing at this point in time, comparably speaking. So there's some reason to be enthusiastic about Apple stock. However, that enthusiasm, I think, can be a little bit mitigated because of the stock price. Apple's share price is trading near its 52-week high. So even though its actual results have improved only like slightly, the stock price has reacted aggressively to the positive developments, getting ahead of itself here. The share price at $264 is near the 52-week high of $265, and it's well above the intrinsic value or fair value I calculated for Apple at $215. So to answer the question, should you buy Apple stock ahead of earnings? I would say no. I would say there is no urgency to buy Apple stock ahead of earnings. I would wait until after the results come out, digest the financial results, digest the information that the company's management team provides, learn more about the impact of tariffs and how much longer Apple can earn these exemptions and avoid some of these tariffs, and just how large will the impacts of tariffs be on Apple moving forward? So there's a lot of information to digest. The company's risks are higher than they've been for some time, and the valuation, I don't think, reflects these elevated risks. So I would say no, I wouldn't be buying Apple stock ahead of earnings. I would wait, let the earnings come out, digest, and then evaluate.
Hey everyone, so many of you have been asking about my investing strategy, and I'm excited to announce that I've written a book that's available for sale now that describes my 6-step investing framework for evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.